One thing that never fails. Anytime I'm at a party or a social gathering and people learn that I'm a game tester, I always get asked, so what do you do all day? Just play video games? And honestly, that's not a completely unfair question, because, there's very little information out in the world about what a video game tester actually does every day. So this video is the answer to that question. Welcome to QA Bootcamp. My name is Daniel Campbell, and this is a day in the life of a professional video game tester. So by now you know a little bit about what QA actually is, but what does QA actually do all day long? Like you hear me say all the time, every QA department is a little bit different. Early in my career, my days were highly structured, and towards the end of my time in QA, I was effectively left to my own devices. But for the sake of this video, I'll be going over what I found to be the most common daily routine of a QA tester at a video game development studio. The process is different for publisher QA or localization QA, but this is the process I'm most familiar with, so that's what you're going to learn. Now the very first thing you'll do, obviously, is clock in. While most developers in this industry are salaried, this isn't the case for the majority of rank and file QA testers. Now this is mostly seen as a curse, but there are some very narrow conditions where it can be a blessing. More on that later. Aside from clocking in, your first step is to get all of your equipment powered on, logged into, and running the newest build. If you're working at a large development studio, there's a pretty good chance that there's a build master, and much of this has already been done automatically throughout the night. So you won't have to sit around for an hour looking for something to do while the new build transfers and installs. Now many times you'll go to what's called a stand-up meeting in the morning with the rest of the development team. These meetings are usually run by someone from production or some other senior staff. They'll update the team on upcoming milestones, sprints, and other news surrounding the development and marketing of the project. Not much of this really has a direct impact on your job as a tester, but it's nice information to be privy to, just in case. Plus, it's nice to just be included. And as QA, there's going to be many times where you simply won't be. But that's a topic for another video. Alright, so you've got your morning meetings out of the way, you've got your equipment up and running, and a brand new build ready to be broken by your unyielding assault on its critical systems. But not so fast. And before you get to bending the game to your will, it's time for regression. For those who might not know what regression is, the short version is that when you log a bug into the system, it'll be fixed and then returned to you in order to confirm that it's actually been fixed. Sometimes it's fixed, sometimes it's exactly the same, and sometimes the fix tends to create a dozen other issues in its place. Now, regression really isn't something that most QA testers enjoy, but it helps to serve as the daily reminder that this is a job and not just a hobby. Sometimes it's gonna suck. Like Mark Twain famously wrote, "If it's your job to eat a frog, do it first thing in the morning. If it's your job to eat 2 frogs, eat the biggest one first." And in all honesty, regression can be a pretty gargantuan frog. At this point, you've likely finished up your regression and moved on to your assigned testing for the day. You might be focused on mission testing, art testing, animation testing, etc. Now if you're on a smaller team, it's possible you'll be given the freedom to perform ad hoc testing, which is usually just testing whatever strikes your fancy. But in a more likely scenario, you'll be running through what's called a test plan. Now folks who followed this channel for a while might be aware of my, let's say, complicated feelings regarding test plans. But they do serve an important purpose, and you'll want to make sure you get used to the idea of having to sit in a game and perform the most tedious and monotonous actions you can possibly imagine. Even if you're part of a smaller team that allows you to fully perform ad hoc testing, you'll want to document what aspects of the game you've been working on. If nothing else, knowing where you've been will help you determine what sections of the game still need to be covered. Now the afternoon is when most administrative stuff tends to happen. One-on-ones, department meetings, Nerf gun battles, hanging out in the lounge and playing Smash Brothers. You know, the really important stuff that makes game development happen. But this time of day is when most of your actual testing is going to happen. You'll be gathering screenshots and videos, documenting bugs, conversing with the rest of the team about the bugs you've discovered, and just generally being a good teammate and doing what needs to be done. Sometimes this can be spending all day in the game's menus disconnecting and reconnecting controllers. Sometimes it's playing through that mission everybody hates over and over again. Some people like to post their bugs as they discover them, and that's perfectly fine. But I personally like to amass all of my bugs and then reserve the last few hours of my day for posting them. Unless it's a critical priority bug, you should probably try to post those ASAP. But the last few hours of my day usually consist of posting all the bugs I've encountered, responding to emails, going around a developer's office and making sure I'm covering what areas that they would like me to cover, etc. That's actually about it, to be honest. While the moment-to-moment details of the job have a lot of nuance and complexity, the average day of a QA tester isn't particularly complicated. We get a new build, we perform regression, we run through test plans, we post our bugs, and then we go home. It's a simple life, but a good one. So, crunch is often a grueling time for QA. I mean, it's often a grueling time for all developers, but especially for QA. While the industry's self-regulated rules about how much crunch we have to endure seems to have gotten a little kinder, the crunch still exists regardless. Now, most other disciplines, they have a list of tasks that they need to work through, and if they're able to get those done, they're usually able to leave for the day. Once they finish their tasks, they're free. But QA, though, our job is never done. The game will never be bug-free. There's always another crash lurking in the shadows, another patch of Z fighting that we missed in our art testing, or a weapon playing the wrong VFX. It's a never-ending vigil. And we don't even get any kick-ass black cloaks. Now during crunch, studios will often order in food, keep the kitchen overflowing with snacks, bring in a massage therapist, and yes, that is based on real examples, and a bunch of other niceties to keep you placated during your harrowing tour of the trenches that are the video game crunch periods. And trust me when I tell you that some of these crunch periods can get so long and grueling that mustard gas in a trench would probably be an improvement to some of the smells that will be wafting from your fellow testers. As a personal appeal from me to you, please make sure you take care of your personal hygiene. During crunch, it is very easy to let something like this fall by the wayside, but out of respect to your fellow testers and, heck, your fellow humans, please take a shower. Wear deodorant. Wear socks with your shoes. We all have to be crammed into this tiny room together, and y'all, we collectively can smell terrible. It's like an expensive cheese that's been left out in the sun to rot before being shoved inside a bloated corpse of a raccoon that was fished out of a hot and swampy porta potty. Sorry, I may have slipped into a little bit of a flashback there. I'm telling you, the crunch on Saints Row 1, it left its mark. Getting back on topic, crunch is one of those limited scenarios where our hourly rate can actually come in handy. Once we start racking up those OT hours, we can really start to earn a semi-decent wage. You know, provided you're okay sacrificing your personal and social life for it. It's not much of a silver lining, but it's something at least. So that's basically what a QA tester's day looks like in a nutshell. It's nothing too complicated when you lay it out in broad strokes like this, but really what job is. So now if you're ever at a party and someone asks you what a game tester does all day, you have a rather detailed answer for them. Or you can just do what I do and say, yeah, basically I play video games all day. Because a lot of times I really don't feel like explaining it for 10 minutes. Anywho, that's it for this lesson. I hope you learned something, and here's hoping it won't be another year before I release another video. Here's where YouTube tells me where I'm supposed to instruct you to like and subscribe and all that, but you're smart, you're intelligent. If you want to do those things, you can find them on your own. You don't need me to do that, right? Right? That means you did it already without me saying anything. See, I knew you were a genius. I'll see you in the next one.